Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Wow. Thank you for stopping by Just Minding My Business Media. Hope everybody had a blessed day. In the world we live in today, you just can't get enough empowerment and motivation, especially with all of the doom and gloom that's going on around us and the leadership that we see on an everyday basis showing behaviors that we would not even let our children do. So today we have Christopher Hampton, who is the founder of the Champiam Organization. Chris enjoys challenging and motivating entrepreneurs, leaders, and youth organizations to break out of their comfort zones, empowering and equipping them to release their inner champ. Well, I just love that. So I gotta know the Champiam. Now he spells Champiam Champiam. So how did you come up with that name?
Well, first I like to pronounce it as Champ I Am, because it's Champ I Am, and I get a lot of people that look at the word and say, "You spelled champion wrong," and I said, "No, I didn't." I said, "Let me explain it to you. Is that it's weird how God works things out. My first name is Chris, last name is Hampton, so I abbreviate it and see Champ. So I look at that as God calling me a champ before I even knew it. And then the I am part talks about how, a lot of times when we're looking about our purpose and we're trying to find our identity, we look to other people and we're saying, what do you see in me? What do you see in me? Like they have something to give to you. But really, you have everything that you need on the inside of you. So that I am is a twofold thing. It's a statement of who I am. I am able. I am capable. I am more than able to succeed in my life. Everything that I need is on the inside of me. But it's also a spiritual connotation. I'm a Christian by faith, and I believe that that I have been created for purpose. So I have to be in partnership with the one who created me, that has the manual for my life and has the inner sight for who I am. So the I am also talks about that partnership, that it's me and God on the journey and we will get to destination together. So that's the champ I am. So I usually say this: once you understand champ I am, you'll never look at champion the same.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
I like that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, where's our manners? We can even welcome you. Welcome.
We already family already. Like, welcome all here.
Jumped right into it.
I know. I just jumped right into it because, when you're working from the inside out, that's an important thing to me. And I'm just like really gravitated towards people that believe that way, because a lot of times people look at the outer person and never really get to know the inner person. And as people, we don't even get into ourselves. And that's the real critical piece that we need to do. So with your organization, what are some of the things that your organization provides for its members or people that you speak to?
Well, I speak to a wide range of audience. We just did our first leadership retreat just this last week. We went and we took leaders from the community away, and non-for-profit in the city of Camden, New Jersey, which has a reputation for being kind of rough. Mm-hmm. But we have so much talent, so much creative art, so many people that the answer of healing in our community is actually within the community. And again, that's that Champ I Am principle continuing to come out, is that, oh no, we have everything we need within us to change the community. But what we needed to do was learn what leadership was. And so I realized we do an open mic night for a young adult in the city of Camden. We have what we call a safe space where they're safe, they're accepted, they are free to be who they are, and it's an empowering environment. And what we have done was we started to grow leaders within the young leaders within the community. And I was always born and raised in a culture of leadership. So I'm used to talking the language of leadership and empowering people. And here I am trying to talk to them about leadership, and they don't know the language. So what I said was, we need to get away. We need to get away, and we're going to strategically plan for next year. But I'm going to give you the basics of leadership. We're going to talk about what it is to be a passionate leader, what it is to be a leader, a servant leader in your community, how not to be an abusive leader, what it is to, how it is to continue to grow as a leader. And I was surprised because my partner that does the business side, she started inviting non-for-profits out. So I thought I was going to be just speaking to our people, but we ended up talking and empowering a whole community at the same time. And how I learned is that, things that you are taught at an early age that are natural to you, it's superhuman looking to someone else. And that's why we need to get the gifts out of you in the community, because we all have our superpower. We all have something that we are standing on the water where other people are sinking. But we have to realize that that is the power that we're needing to use to change our community and our situation. So that was just one instance where by giving back to the community, I'm being elevated, and my network is growing. And I didn't do it in the traditional way of starting a business and saying, hire me. I said, start the business. And I said, let me serve. And as I started to serve and be an example of servanthood in the community, now I'm starting to now have the school district start to open up to me. Now I'm starting to see people in the political arena open up to me. And still keep my humbleness about me, because I know it's about purpose. And by being an example of purpose, I'm opening doors for other people, and exposure is coming to me as I'm going. So I'm living it out and walking my destiny and watching the doors open at the same time. So I also, to answer your question, I've been having the opportunity to speak to businesses, to go into the school system, go into the college system, because I really believe that we don't teach purpose and vision to our people. And if we spoke vision at an early age, we would save money, resources. We would recognize opportunities before they're even there, because we're walking by vision and not by sight. When we walk by sight, we tend to be distracted by what's in front of us. But when we walk by vision, we have that clear mental picture of our preferable future. So we're targeted on where we're going, and therefore we're able to see opportunities, see resources for what they are. And you find that you're surrounded by more than what you realize that you have.
I love it.
I go on and talk. I'm sorry.
No, that's why you're here. For us all the time. But that is awesome. Could you talk to us a little bit about what is the language of leadership? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
I think they need to understand, by understanding what leadership is not you're in control. Leadership not you manipulating people. Leadership is, I was explaining to the group this week, leadership is a verb, not a noun. And we get it mixed up sometimes because we look at people, places, and things as, people, he must be a leader because he's at the top or she's at the top. He must be a leader because they're at a certain place in their life where people are looking at them. He must be a leader because he holds a position or holds a thing, or he got riches and wealth. Mm-hmm. And it's not a person, it's not a place, it's not a thing. It's a verb. It's an action. What leadership is influence. When I understand that I am influencing someone, I am motivating people to stop what they're doing and changing their direction to do something else. That's what influence means. So either in some way, everything is rising and falling off of leadership. Mm-hmm. So that's why we have to learn that we are either being influenced or we are influencing. But that's what leadership is the language of influence. Now, there's ways that we can do it. Now, I believe there's servant leadership and different models of leadership. But the essence is how are you leading and are you influencing people?
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Excellent definition of leadership.
Yes, I like the idea that it's a verb because I think especially in the workplace, a lot of people get caught up with the titles and I'm the manager, I'm the VP, and basically move into an egotistic behavior, you know, and I just hate it because in order to be a leader, to me, you have to be able to serve.
Right.
You have to be able to roll up your sleeves and get dirty right along with the people that you are leading.
No.
And you know what's great about that is what you just said about the position. John Maxwell taught that position is, there's like 5 levels of leadership. And position is the lowest level of leadership. And people think that because they have a leadership, that that's where that's the end all to be all. But that's actually the lowest level of leadership, is when people have to follow you. You know, they're following you because they have to. You want to see a good leader, find people that are leading nonprofit organizations or charities or 501(c)(3)s where people are volunteering their time because they automatically been elevated to level 2, which is permission, which is they're following you because they want to. Okay? The lowest level of leadership is because I have to. You don't want people to follow you because they have to. You want to follow you because when they have to follow you, they give you the less amount of time. They give you the least amount of effort. They don't even try to be creative. I know how I am when I'm working my 9 to 5. I do have a 9 to 5, and I realize I'm working my 9 to 5 to fund my purpose. So here I am. It's 4:45, and clock out is at 5. So at 4:45, I'm getting my desk clean. I'm not talking to nobody. I'm doing what I need to do. I make sure I go to the bathroom because I want to be out at 5 o'clock. I don't want to go to the bathroom on my time. So what happens is I'm shutting down. But when you're owning something, or when you have a vision that you're tied to, you find yourself thinking for somebody else's vision that you see the vision and you see your place in. You find yourself thinking late in the night about how can I make that organization better.
Right.
You see, you bought into the second level. You've been in the permission level, and then the production level, and then there's a recruitment level. And it's talking about there are more than one level. That's the lowest level of leadership that you're at. In position. I don't want you there because they gave me a title. I'm looking for the type of leaders that are wearing the title before the title is given.
Absolutely.
That's a good way of putting it.
That is an excellent way to put it. And, we see that the workplace is the best example of a lower level of leadership.
Well, that's where we all been in positions where we've experienced abusive leadership. I mean, if I ask you, have you been in a situation where you felt that the leadership was straight up abusive? Dr. Miles Monroe said, when the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable. I'll say that again. Where the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable. So whether it's relationships, leadership, your job, if you don't understand the purpose of why you're there or the purpose of your role in the organization, 9 times out of 10, you're going to abuse that relationship. We do it from leadership level. We do it from relationship levels. We even are abusing our jobs because we don't realize that our job is there. Actually, it's more than just a paycheck. There are learning lessons. There are life lessons that we're missing because we're not looking at our life with vision and purpose in mind, that we end up abusing the opportunity to learn more. I learned how to deal with nasty people because when I had to run my business, I had to learn how to deal with nasty people that were outside of my business. When the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable. So the reason why your boss is abusive is because he's not trained in the language and trained in what leadership is. They're given a position, but they're not trained about how to lead in that position.
Absolutely.
That is like a critical thought, and it's an old thought, and it brings me back to a company that I worked for years ago. And one of the things that they taught was, basically, if there was an abusive manager within the organization, they were gone very, very quickly. They taught us that attitude is 99.9% of everything. And they expected that from maintenance, people people on the sales floor, their managers, and those who were in the upper echelon of management. And it is so critical because that is an attitude that's been lost now. And you find people who call themselves leaders that you really think I wouldn't walk with them from here to the next door, except for the fact that they're giving me a paycheck. Other than that, I don't want to know them. I wouldn't trust them in any kind of critical situation.
What has to happen is when you realize that everything rises and falls off of leadership. So one of the things that if there's a problem with the leadership, if there's a problem in the company, I'm going to look at the head. So one of the things is if there's a problem in my department, I'm going to look at the head of that department, and it just rolls down the hill. But one of the things that we need to learn is the word servant leadership, and to be a relational leader. And there's a difference between being a relational leader and being your friend. Okay, I don't have to be your friend, because when we get friendly, familiarity breeds contempt. And I think that's one of the struggles with leadership is I want to be understanding, I want to be relational, I want to be serving, but if I show myself vulnerable, they have contempt for me, they won't respect me. But at the same time, when you demonstrate a servant leader mentality, what happens is you show love. You show a spirit of love that's unconditional, meaning that I am invested in your growth. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Absolutely.
So what has to happen is when I sit with a team, and I got a team, I'm making sure that above all they understand I care for your well-being, but I also care for the vision and the mission. But I realize that if you're not stable, then the vision and the mission is not going to go. You're not going to be free. I need to make sure that I understand and that you understand that we're in this together. I don't have to be your friend. And sometimes leading our friends is the hardest thing to do. Okay? But you have to be able to say, okay, we're in this together. How can I serve you? And part of that is you can't take somebody where you've never been. One of the best learning lessons I've learned was when my bishop first started his church. We were just 11 people. Now we're close to 1,000 and growing, okay, within a 17-year period of time. So I've seen him grow a congregation from 11 to a larger amount now. And one of the things that hit me the most was somebody had to clean the toilet. We didn't have money to do anything. But one of the things he said, Chris, you need to learn how to be a servant. So he displayed it for me. He was cleaning the toilet. So when it was my time to serve, I didn't have a problem cleaning up the bathroom because he displayed what it was like to be at the top and still willing to serve. So you can't take somebody where you've never been. And I take that on that such a small principle, and I take it to a larger principle, because sometimes we are asking people to do things that we wouldn't do ourselves.
That's one of the first principles of any kind of good management. Don't ask anybody else to do something that you're not willing to do too. And Ida said it earlier. She said, you've got to be willing to get dirty. You've got to be willing to roll up your sleeves and get in there with everybody else and do whatever needs to be done.
Right. And eventually there's going to come a time when your hands come off of it because you've displayed it enough that people know. But in the beginning, you got to have your hands on it, and you got to be able to show them you are a model leader, not a leader by title, not a leader by position. You are a leader that is displayed. You should be looking to be an example, a leader in whatever area that you are. So an example, more than speaks, an example shows. A lot of us do too much talking. We do too much talking. I used to say that in marriage counseling, I said, if you got to say you're the man, you ain't the man, right? You gotta say you're the man. You ain't the man. I'm the man of this house. You gotta listen to me. If I gotta say it, then I ain't it. But when I have to display it, and I display what a man's supposed to be like, what a leader of my home is supposed to look like, it's demonstrated. More is caught than taught.
Yes, that is so true. That is so true. You always got to watch the talkers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, show me. You know, I don't see what you're saying. You know, once you say it, you got to demonstrate it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for people to really be able to resonate with what you're saying, because now you've shown it. So I agree, 100%. Wow,
That's good. That's rich. I'll tell you something too, just along with what Ida just said and what you were saying about, if you have to talk about it all the time, you have to show who you are. That goes back to what you were saying about the champ I am. And it's that I am, most people think of themselves, the color of their skin, how tall they are, what kind of education they have, how much they have in the bank account, what kind of house they have, what kind of car they have. They may think to some degree about their personality. Most people do not. But it's deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's, as Ida said, it's an inside job and an inside recognition. And that's the part that most people don't want to go to because they're afraid of it. As you said, if you start with people, youngsters, and start teaching them to go within, to find out who they really are, not their color, not their race, not their economic status, not whether they are or aren't going to get a college degree or play, professional basketball or football. That's all outside of yourself. It's inside. It's something that, like I've often said in my platform, that we were each born with a blueprint. A blueprint. It's who we are. And sometimes it takes a lifetime because of the environment that we're in, the way we're conditioned, the fact that almost from birth, people start telling us who we are.
Yeah.
And it's not who we are, but we start taking it on because these are the people who feed us, keep us close.
And that's the problem that we have to overcome. Even in our community, in the people of color, it is something that is ingrained. We are still conditionalized to an institution that our great-great-grandparents had left out of. But more than anything, we limit ourselves to our identity. Someone told me that the man is holding me down. The man didn't stop me from doing my LLC. No one stopped me and said, because I'm a person of color, I'm black, that I can't start my LLC. Nobody stopped that. No one stopped me from being an entrepreneur. But now, is there racism out there? Yes. Are there people that have limiting views of who you are? Yes. Are there people that are in positions of authority that don't have your best interest in mind? Yes. But you have to realize that when you understand that you are unlimited potential, and that they are obstacles, and when you understand that an obstacle is not the end, that obstacles I can either go over, I can go through, or I can go around, but you're not going to stop me from being who I am. So that's where the inner side has to be in that inner conversation. Because one of the hardest conversations I have is I'm showing young people, and I'll give an example of a young person who, a 9-year-old boy named Evan is one of my favorite stories to talk about. 9-year-old boy started a YouTube page because he had a passion for Lego. The little blocks we were growing up making, right?
I know about that.
So Evan is my role model because you know why? Because I'm afraid to do YouTube and live recordings and things like that. I'm going to get over that with him this year. That's my thing. But Evan started a YouTube and he was putting his blocks together and making things on things. Now, most of the people would have made fun of Evan. They would have played Evan out. You know how we can be rough on people. We would have played that dude out and called him about because he's 9-year-old and still playing with Legos. But Evan didn't care. Evan was on his YouTube page, putting and building and doing. And you know what happened? He built a following over a couple million people.
Wow.
YouTube monetized. Okay? YouTube monetizes. You know what happened? He ended up making over a couple $1 million a year, and he's not even 9 years old yet. Now, what's happening, went and put EvanTube up, and now he got full commercials where they're sending him toys, and he's taking them out the box, unboxing the toys, and showing kids how to use the toys. Evan is in 9-year-old heaven. Okay?
Wow.
He ain't worried about college. He ain't worried about that. This is the society that we're in where you can make money like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got parents telling me, well, it's because his parents are such and such, or it's because his parents believed in him. That's all he needed was his parents to believe in him and allow him to play and allow Evan to be Evan. My nieces are now like YouTube sensations, and I don't understand how quick they are, but they're twins. They used the twin thing. Now they got it on, and now YouTube is sending them a check because now they got people. They walk into the Walmart and they're like, they're like YouTube celebrities, but they get a check for more than I made at a part-time job, and they get a check in a month, and they're doing things because they relieve that one. Oh yeah, their parents have to support it. That's the reason why I go and I talk to parents, because it's hard for me to liberate your children. Children are easy to liberate. It's the parents they got to go home to, and I got to try to tell them, hey, your kids are going to come back with a business in mind, and you got to be open to letting them grow their brand, build their brand. No, they said, no, you got to work a 9 to 5. If I listened to my grandmom, I would still be at the same McDonald's with the same job, because McDonald's had benefits, child. But boy, don't leave that job because McDonald's had benefits. And I'm not playing my grandma out, but that was my grandma's age that she grew into. Right, so we have to be able to mold our children and stop trying to define our children and mold them. Get them in a place where they can have a place of self-discovery, and you take your limitations off of them, and you need to get self-discovery, because once I talk to the adults, they're like, you know what? I was chasing the money.
Yes.
And they were chasing a vehicle. And one of the things that I share with young people is you can't chase a vehicle. I said, they're like, you tell young kids, what do they want to be when they grow up? So the popular things is, I want to play baseball, I want to play basketball, I want to play football. Okay? I said, that's a vehicle. What's the reason why you want to play that?
Right.
Why do you want to be there? I need you to find the why. Because you may go there and find out that you don't make it to the NBA, but you like sports medicine because you like to heal people. You like activity. You like to work with your hands. These are things. I said, your mama's not riding in the same vehicle that you had when you were a baby, right? She's like, no. Why? Because your vehicle is going to change in life, but your purpose doesn't. Your passion doesn't. Mm-hmm. So we got to stop chasing vehicles, and we find out that now we in our midlife. I'm pressing 43, so I'm not. I'll be 44 in September, so I'm not old yet, but I'm getting there, and I'm starting to feel it. And old is relative, because I got always someone say you somebody's baby, but I'm like,
that's right. Age is just a number.
As I'm getting older, I'm realizing that, you know what? I don't have to work for somebody for their reasons. I can work for them because I have a reason beyond that.
Right.
And that's a liberating factor, that I'm no longer in the rat race of life because I got a clue of who I am.
Absolutely.
That's a
wonderful, freeing feeling. Even if you still working your 9 to 5, realize, I always call them, that's my sponsor. That's how I call them. They're my sponsors.
I love that. I love that.
And it helps me get through my day, because as soon as, like you said, quarter of, I'm going to the bathroom, I'm making sure I got my keys, my phone, so I ain't got to come back, and on to my purpose.
But I'll tell you this. When I realized my purpose, my job became so much more fruitful to me.
Yes.
Because now I've become more self-directed. So now I do training and develop. I do sales. And in sales, I sell for seniors in Humana. So I work with those type of things. So I'm doing Medicare stuff. So what happens is I always end up being in a situation now where I'm training and developing and empowering. Why? Because I know where I'm at. Right now, my company has me opening up for humanity. I'm saying I can now put it as a bragging tool because my company now put me on the stage where now that I am in front of all the salespeople in my region, and I'm the motivational speaker that's bringing the lesson for that.
Wow.
Now, best believe I'm going to have a camera somewhere. Best believe I'm going to make sure all those resources are doing what? Building up my outside brand, but I'm using my day job to now give me expertise for what I'm trying to build for my platform. And I'm telling you, people are missing out on the blessing that they have, on the job that they hate every day, because there's opportunities that are in that job that are supposed to be making you wealthy and going in wealthy in knowledge, wealthy in money, wealthy in favor. I have people now opening doors for me that I couldn't open myself now because I've made their company better.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're opening doors for me to do things that I can create a thing now and make it work. Mm-hmm. What's a great thing when now you can create a position that was never ever there before because you're using your purpose gift, and your purpose gift is making a way for you. The Bible talks about how your gift will make room for you. Mm-hmm. But you have to identify your gift. Yeah. And we're running around here wasting time because we haven't identified our superpower.
Mm-hmm. Wow. All right, y'all heard that.
Yes.
It's superpower.
we went in deep. We went in deep and quick. I'm sorry. I jumped in. I'm coming in. I don't know when I'm going to see anybody again. So when I come in, I jump in quick because I never know when I'm going to see anybody again. I'm giving you everything I learned within a week.
Wow, you are such a pleasure. So how do our audience get in touch with you?
You can get me on my website, Champiam, CHAMPIAM.org. You can get me at Champiam Speaks on Instagram. You can get me on my email, chrishampton@champiam.org, or you can just straight up call me on my Google line because I don't give my personal line out at 856-346-34. Not even forget my number. What's my Google number? 856-345-9812.
Okay.
I know that's right. I got one too.
My goal is get me out of New Jersey. I need to travel and speak everywhere. So I'm open to speak to you. I'm open to travel. You bring me out, take care of me. I'm open to come to you, and hopefully now I got friends in Baltimore and Washington now.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure you will have.
Absolutely, because when I met you, as a matter of fact, I met him a couple of weeks ago. It hasn't even been that long, through Catherine with the Speak Life Tour, an event that I went to, and I was just loving the vibrations that I got from you. And I was like, oh, man, I like him. He speaks the truth, and he's real direct with it, and I love it. So now here we are, and now we just don't know where else we're going to end up hooking up.
Well, you got my information, you got my number. It won't be the last time. I'm planning on coming back down and supporting Speak Life Tour every chance we get. And like I said, we have to learn how to collaborate. Even if we do things that are similar to one another, we don't have to compete. I was thinking today, and then a word came to my mind that says, when you're comfortable with who you are, you're not afraid to lift other people up.
Absolutely.
So I'm comfortable with who I am. That's why I look to collaborate. What I'm looking for are people who are comfortable where they are, and we all grow together.
Amen to that. That's where I am. I'm comfortable with me, and I'm glad I'm there because my purpose is like straight ahead. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm doing it with God's help every day. So I'm like blessed and highly favored, and I just can't say enough about that. And happy to be able to meet people that are on that same road of their purpose. It's a wonderful thing. Well, Chris, Ruth, any last thing? You got me smiling. I'm so happy.
This was a wonderful interview. No, I have no last things. I'm sure I could think of something if I stop long enough, and then we will be here for another 30 minutes.
We got part two with Champ I. No, sorry.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to have you back again because I want you to get into some more focused areas with us, with our audience. I mean, we kind of hit every gamut today, but we want people, how do you begin to move into that space where your champ I am is you're seeing that.
Oh, you can't pay people like that and wait for them to give me back. I got to give you that. We got we got a whole hour. You told me to be here from 7 to 8.
Okay.
How do we get there?
I ain't interrupt. You end it when you say goodbye. But I'm like I say, that's a very good question because my journey's only been 4 years long. Okay, it may look like I'm further out. I shared this when I was at Speak Life. What got me into my speaking side was a health scare. I was working 3 jobs and I was just in this cycle. And I was doing that night shift, and I came off the night shift where my heartbeat just went to a total different rhythm. And I said, that's not normal. Let me check that out. And the doctor at the emergency room that's why I said I love a specialist, because I went to the emergency room, and they were like, you had a heart attack. So I was like, I was in my 30s. So I wasn't, like I said, I was in my late 30s. And, it wasn't the fact that I had a heart attack, or they said I had a heart attack, because I went to specialists that you didn't have it. But they said it wasn't the fact in the moment that they said I had a heart attack. What was screaming on the inside of me was that inner champ screaming at me, saying, no, you can't die yet. You haven't did what you're supposed to do.
There you go.
And that was the thing that bothered me more than dying, was the fact that I haven't did what I was supposed to do. I had always known that I was an empowerment speaker. I had always known I had a ministerial heart. I've always known these things. Yet, it just life kept on beating me down. I was going through the longest separation I ever seen. I was separated from my wife for over almost going on 10 years. We just got back together, and we were dealing with that. So I was dealing with those fears, dealing with finding out who I was, and all those different things that were going on, that I felt that I wasn't qualified to speak for anything. But when I went and had that conversation with the inner person saying, yo, I'm called to speak. And he was like, well, then speak. And I said, but nobody will hire me. He said, speak. He said, I said, nobody knows who I am. He said, speak. So the very first thing that I did was I joined Toastmasters. I put myself in an environment where there were speakers. And I began to speak, and I began to introduce myself as, my name is Chris Hampton. Champ I Am wasn't even developed yet. And it was a thought. And I said, but my name is Chris Hampton, and I'm a motivational speaker. Now, was I speaking to thousands of people yet? No. Was I empowering hundreds of people yet? Was I empowering 10 people? No. I had to empower myself first. But I said they believed who I was because of who I represented myself to be. So you asked me how I became Champ I Am. It was because I decided to believe who I was and take a step. If you're thinking for your business or what's on your heart today, what's going on, that it's just going to magically appear and that life is just going to be perfect and everything is just going to line up and the stars are going to be perfect and you're going to walk out and the angels are going to go, ah, no. It's not going to happen. Your life is going to be traumatic from year to year. Things are going to always happen. You're going to lose somebody. You're going to gain something and you're going to lose it again. It's not going to be perfect. But what happens is the platform, I became a water walker. And that's what I call it. I became a water walker because as I started to walk on the water and I realized that as I started to speak, I started to stand where others were dropping. And then more was learned as I started to go. And I think that's what we have to do, is that we have to get over that fear of going. And what happens is we become comfortable in life because we become comfortable with our dysfunctions. comfortable with our shortcomings, and we become that man that's living in a house that's too small for him. You're a big man living in a small house. And what's happening is you become comfortable living in that, and you build your life around that dysfunction. And you're living your life because you're living a life from day-to-day fear. And I explained that there's 3 types of fear, and I love this lesson that I teach. There's 3 types of fears that we face. We face the fear of rejection. If I step out, what if they don't receive me? If I step out and I do my business, they say many businesses fail the first 5 years of business. What if I step out and I fail? Well, rejection. Rejection doesn't mean that you're rejected. Rejection means that you're not, when you realize that your mission is not made for everybody. I was that guy that I feel like I'm a handsome dude right now, and I was a good looking dude right now. I'm just accepting myself at 43 as I'm okay. Right? But for so long, I didn't believe I was good looking. I didn't believe I was the one because I wasn't the one they would come to. I was the wallflower. I was the behind the scenes person. I was the quiet guy. But I had to believe in myself because I lived in rejection so long that it became my identity. And I have to realize that not everybody's for me. So if I come up to you and I'm married now, so you can't have me now, so you missed out. But if I came up to you at the time and I was like, hey, what's up? And you're like, you don't got what I got. Well, you wasn't for me. I'm fine with that. I had to realize that I'm a treasure. And most people don't realize that treasure is in front of them because they not used to seeing what treasure is. So that was the fear of rejection. Then there was the fear of failure. What if I step out and I fail and I mess up and I'm just no good? What happens if I fail? And then what I had to realize was failure is not an identity. Failure is a problem in the process. And so often what we've done is we made failure an identity. So we're sitting in a room going like this: I'm a failure, I'm a failure, I'm a failure. You need to take I'm a failure out and say I failed. Because if you say I failed, that means there's a problem in the process. All you got to do is figure out what the wrong behavior is, change it, and then you become a success. So there was the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, and then the last one is the fear of success.
Yes.
Oh my God, nobody ever talks about the fear of success.
Yes.
What happens when Chris Hampton becomes the international speaker that I'm out here impacting the world? I'm now a multi-million-dollar company all within my name. They know my name and my brand, and they want to pay me. Right now, they know my name and my brand, and I'm trying to get them to pay me. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But what happens when I step out there and I do it?
Right.
That's a total different level of responsibility, issues, things that I have to do. But the key to overcoming all 3 of those is this. I have a little saying that says, fear less. Fear less. And I put it on my shirt, and I usually have an armband on when I speak. It says fear less. I didn't say fearless as one word. I break it up. I said I am fear and I fear less. I stay away from fearless people. If you look at the movies, the fearless people are the only ones that are standing. And most of the time, they don't look good themselves. Everybody dead, sprawled out on the ground. I don't want to be collateral damage. I stay away from fearless people.
Yes.
But here I learned this. The more I know, I fear less.
That's right.
The more I know, I fear less. So then I realized that I just got to change my knowledge base. And that goes back to your leadership question that we're starting again. Is that you can only grow your team to the level of leadership that you are and your level of learning. So you're always in a position of learning more. I'm not afraid of heights anymore. I'm not scared of roller coasters. I respect roller coasters. I don't go on roller coasters. But there was a time that I was afraid of roller coasters. I was to the point where my fear would constrict, it would confine, and it would just control me. And I realized that that's not a good place to be. So I went on there and realized it was just the law of gravity, and I just don't like not breathing for 5 minutes.
Exactly.
So I respect roller coasters, but I no longer fear them. So again, the more I know, I fear less.
Mm, that's the truth. The more I know, I fear less. I like that.
So that means you have to step out there and get the knowledge. You have to
Yeah,
step out.
more is learned as you go forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You have professional students, professional college people that never step out, but they're just gaining knowledge.
Right.
I don't want you to become one of them. I want you to be able to step out and experience. They're looking for people with life experience to the knowledge. It's good to have a concept, but now you're starting to put what you learned into, and you realize that you learn more, you know more than you really do.
Yeah.
When you start stepping out, you realize how much you know, because now stuff is starting to be used. But you got to step out. And you know what? There's still areas that I struggle with when it comes to stepping out. So like, I'm going to do my podcast like this. I'm great talking to y'all now, but when I'm by myself, it's like, hello, this is the Champ I Am hour. And
I totally understand that. All of a sudden, your whole tongue.
hello, I'm the Champ I Am.
My girlfriend was like, "What you scared of?"
I need people to talk to. I need people to talk to. But as I step out, I get better. I'm hypercritical. So when the Champ I Am network comes out, I'm going to let you know. Y'all going to be my first, my guest to that coming on. Because it's the issue of being able to step out and doing something different and learning how to do it. One day I'll be able to get in front of the camera and look this live in front of the camera. But the other reason why I'm live is because I'm looking at Sister Ida smiling back at me and Sister Ruth smiling back at me. How can you not be energetic when I'm looking at you on the stage? So it's a lot of difference. So I got to get a TV with my own programmed audience that's like, giving me wolf tickets while I'm doing it. But I'm going to find some way to get on there, but I'm going to work on it. But I had to learn by stepping out. It happened.
Yes, well, we got you on that because we're going to talk to you about that.
Ooh, we do. We have you so much on that. Yeah. Opportunity, you never know. Like you say, stepping out, saying what you have to say, you never know what opportunity is going to come right your way.
Yes.
And people come to you when you're able to vocalize what you're looking to do. Yeah. So that's the other thing that you have to do is you have to become the voice of your vision. People can't help you unless they know what the vision is. There's a scripture that talks about write the vision and make it plain. Because what happens is when you make that vision plain, people will see it. And then when they see it, they're going to see how they can connect to it and how they can help you make that vision happen. The vision for your life is so big. And the reason why it's so big is because you're not meant to do it alone. But you have to master voicing the vision. And if you can't vocalize the vision, you're not going to be able to give instruction to the help. So you have to be able to be that voice.
Wow.
This has been full of lucky nuts.
I'm having fun.
I'm having fun.
Good. That's what we love. We love it when people
over here. I can't even get it out. Oh my goodness. This is, oh wow.
Y'all gonna make me come down there.
You're always welcome.
Yes.
For sure. And we've got some stuff that we're working on right now, and we definitely got your name on the list. That's part of it. So
that's my vision right now. Deliver me from New Jersey. Give me up. I love Jersey. I'm here.
That I used to live in New Jersey.
I gotta expand my borders. So I'm like, hey, I start talking to people in another state that know me now. I'm like, I know people in Washington now.
Absolutely. That's how it works. When you start stepping out, you start connecting with all kinds of people from all over the place.
Absolutely.
Go, and we definitely have room for you in Maryland. So, Pennsylvania, DC, that whole Delmarva thing going on.
Yes.
Not to worry. There's more than enough room for you. And again, often when we talk with people, I listen to the content of what they do. And oh my goodness, Baltimore needs you.
Awesome.
Baltimore needs your message.
The White
And
House.
that means the entire surrounding area, DC as well. Everybody needs it. But I'm just thinking about how much at-risk youth is in Baltimore, and the idea of Champ I Am. That's a message that people need to hear.
Yes.
Be it young people or adults or even older ones, because they're older ones who are going to die without knowing who they are.
Yes.
They think they're their name, etc., all those things outside of themselves, but they're going to die without ever having the privilege of knowing the real person, the real identity that their creator created when he created.
And there's a need for the release of the season to show up in our communities.
Yeah.
I think that's the importance of building communities. And I think what God is doing with me right now with Camden is that he's showing me this little 9-mile town of Camden. And when I came to visit Baltimore, I realized how much similar our inner city was to Baltimore. It was a very tiny version of Baltimore. The same issues that you're dealing with are the same issues that we're having. And what happens is that God will allow you to practice in an area, to build things and to learn things, so that when you get to a bigger area, it's not taking you out of whack. So I appreciate what I saw, because when I brought my team up with me, she was saying, wow, they're doing the similar things that we're doing here too. I said, it doesn't take that much. It doesn't take that much. It may be a little difference, but you know what? Change is when we decide to make the change. And that's why I love the Speak Life Tour thing, was because they had the community together. My point in saying that was, we have to be able to be a bridge. I had to realize that I had to position myself to pour into younger adults. And the reason why was I was so busy. Like I started getting, as soon as I started to volunteer with my young adults, I started to get gray hair. And it wasn't because they were stressing me, but here I am upset with, I'm having this conversation with God, and I'm not trying to be spiritual, but I'm having a conversation with God, and I'm like, I got to do something about this. And I said, because I'm only 43 and I'm starting to get the salt and pepper like I'm my grandpa's age. And he's like, for a period of time, I couldn't diet. And he said, don't diet. And I was like, why? Because you have to accept the fact that you're not them. And a lot of times what happens is we're so busy trying to be like the younger generation that we feel that we forget that we have something of value that we have to pour into them, that we can't be them to get them. So I need you, who are my season, to be able to pour into me so I can pour into them. And now I'm training them to pour into the high school and the elementary. That's how community is supposed to happen, where there is a from the top on down. And if we can get our community family together, I think that's how we can make a difference in our communities. But again, we need to be able to respect our ancestors, respect our seniors, respect each other, respect ourselves, and be able to pass that down. That's what's going to be taught, and you'll see the difference because they want to change. And when I realized that they want to learn, it wasn't that they didn't want to learn. They had to find someone that was willing to love them unconditionally and still pour into them. And that's where the change is starting to happen in our community in Camden. And I know I'm not the only one that's there that's doing it, but I'm doing my part.
Right. And that's what it's about. If everybody do their part, all those parts come together, and it's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, we had a blast.
Very, very fine.
At least we have had a blast with you. Before we wrap up, one more time, how can our audience get in touch with you?
Champiam.org. 856-345-9812. That's the phone number, my office number. Or you can email me at chrishampton@champiam.org. Or catch up with me on Instagram, Champiam Speaks.
Okay.
Right. Wow. This was
Help me to release the Champ I Am in you.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. It's good to meet you, Ruth.
Good to meet you too.
Word on the street says there's something new at Just Minding My Business Media. You've heard our podcast, Just Minding My Business Radio, that brings news and views you can use. That airs every Thursday at 6 p.m. on iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and Spreaker. Well, now you can watch Just Minding My Business. That's right, Just Minding My Business Media now has a TV presence on Raven International TV Network, broadcast on Roku, Fire, and Apple TV. Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV, through Just Minding My Business dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmmb.asistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level.
Thank you to the amazing women of A Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, and our media partners. Let Just Minding My Business Media promote your business. For information, visit us at jmmb.asistercircle.org. That's jmmb.asistercircle.org. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks, for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.